Well, good afternoon. It is 3:31, so we'll call the July 27th FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. Before we go or get to number one, any additions or?
Well, it's up to you guys. I brain farted on the agenda, but the official approval of the operating lease agreement with NDSU, we did discuss it at last month's meeting, and it's in the minutes about how there were no changes. There are no changes. I have the signed agreement back from NDSU, so we can put it on and you can take your formal vote to approve it at this meeting, so you can sign it and we can get it to the city, or we can go through the process in August.
Okay.
And we can with 5, right?
Yeah, you got a quorum.
Okay. Sounds good, so we'll add that to number 4. Is there a motion to approve the minutes, or the agenda, sorry?
So,
I'll second.
What was it?
First by Mike, second by Rick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, and on to number 1, approval of the June 29th FDA minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by Rick, second by Dan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, any old business to bring before the authority? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 3, and new business. General manager's report. We missed huge news last month. Sounds like.
Some of you did.
Some of us, yes.
what, that we had $50,000 surplus?
Yeah, that's one of them.
So,
First time in
a while.
18 months.
Yeah. Page 4 is the financials, so we'll run over those real quick. Left-hand side of the page is the month of June, and the right-hand side is the year-to-date, so it'd be the first half of 2021. Really focused just on the month of June. We had 5 events. 5 event days, attendance of just over 51,500 compared to a budget of 61. And we had total event income of 257,200 compared to a budget of 206,000. And we had expenses of 328,600 compared to a budget of 346,500. So actually, for a long time coming, we've actually have a surplus for the month of June of $50,000 compared to a budgeted surplus of 2,100, or about 48,500 above budget. Obviously, the vast majority of that comes from Happy Harry's Rib Fest was quite successful, strong per caps for food and beverage, and parking and gate fee. So we were about $80,000 above budget on that. Fargo High School had their graduations, pretty much consistent with budget, but about 2,500 above budget there. We did have a WWE or a family show or something plugged in June, so we ran that through. Obviously, it did not occur, and that's where we reached up to the 51,000. The meeting rooms still are very slow. However, I think they're going to start. We're starting to see the faucet turn on to a little bit of a trickle here in August. First part of September, people are getting back to thinking that they're going to go back to some meetings, and hopefully that continues the trend on. We'll wait and see on that. On the expense side, we were about $4,700 below budget on labor, which is, we'll call that consistent. G&A, about $3,700 below budget. Just as Susan pointed out, and I'll point out to you, mostly attributable to the lower liability insurance policy, but that is auditable. So with the June events, with what's happened through the month of June, we've exceeded the 109,000, which is what the premium for 2021 was based on, which was last year's attendance numbers. She has started to accrue the 9.6 cents per person as we move forward. So that'll probably start to change to be a little higher than budget the months here on out because of the way that works, but that's mainly what it's attributable to. And then the operations side, we were about $9,600 below budget, more due to timings with janitorial supplies and different things such as that. I'll pretty much guarantee you I don't think we'll be under budget for electricity usage for the month of July. But on a note there, though, I did see an article, I don't know if you saw that, Susan, that Excel is not getting as big of a rate increase as they were asking for. They agreed to cut that back, and so I did read something too that the NDSU on the steam side is gonna match that plus 10% cut, so.
Plus 10. Plus 10, so when we cut it in plus 10, it's a positive, so that's a good thing.
Good
That's how I do the
interpretation.
math.
That interpretation was unique.
We'll teach you how that negative in parentheses works. But no, so obviously July has been a very hot month, and with 12 days of a lot of wrestlers in the building was going through there. So on the right-hand half of the side of the paper, obviously the year-to-date, I'm not going to really talk about it. We've got a net deficit right now of $561,000. You can see where the most of it comes. Again, everyone's done a good job of maintaining expenses as much as they can while we're still kind of operating normal, but just with not as many people prior to June. So we're still saving about $200,000 in expenses. That won't go out the window with some of the new news, but obviously we'll have a little bit of a recovery. Any questions on the June financials?
Nice.
Okay. Past events, event calendar, page 18, and since our last meeting, which was back in June, we've talked a little bit about it. USA Wrestling started moving in on the 14th. Wednesday the 14th and Tuesday the 13th, they were setting up mats. They actually started the competition with the last chance qualifying for the Olympic team Friday the 16th, so they had about a half-day session there, and then they got into the big stuff where they were wrestling. They actually moved the wrestling back, so they were wrestling about from 8 a.m. to 8 to 9 p.m. every day. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with access. So there was people in the building basically 5 a.m. to midnight or 1 a.m. as we'd open it up, do the events, get it clean. So the building, if the dust wasn't removed, we got the cobwebs out of the places over the last 2 weeks, which obviously is always good and bad. But we'll wait and see there. Good event. You might have seen some of the articles. The wrestling registrations were record, most ever. Again, I think it was 6,800. That's not how many wrestlers were in town. That's how many registrations, and a lot of those are duplicate registrations. But there still was over 3,000 wrestlers, which is significantly up from the last few years. So,
What about, what did you see at the concessions? Do you think that was up, or?
I haven't seen the final reports because we actually, I don't know if we have reports right now.
This was our first.
We started to, so USA Wrestling, the event started on the 16th. We started to install our new point of sale system on that Monday before the 12th. So,
The deposits looked good.
the deposits look good. Now how they turn out, we'll see. But I would call it good. I don't know. It was up some. I can't tell you right now if it's significantly or not, because they're just trying to work that all out. But it was good.
So it was actually, though, good to have this event with 3,000 when it came up.
It was a good test event.
Sure.
From a positive there. I know the hotels, City of Fargo was nearly sold out on hotels. I think Residence Life with NDSU had a lot of people in it. So as far as dollar-wise into the economy, it was great this year. But yeah.
Did we have any new mats? No.
Pardon me?
For wrestling, did we buy new mats?
We don't buy mats.
We don't, okay.
Those come in. We buy underlayments.
Oh, okay.
Flooring underlayments. So we bought that first. So this is the first time with USA Wrestling we had 8 of the mats underneath there, but also with the state of North Dakota sanctioning female wrestling. They are adding mats to the state wrestling tournament in February. So we're waiting for it to be delivered. More underlayment, and then the Metro Tournament Committee also helped out with the purchase of that as well.
Okay.
The FARGODOME expenditure will be right around 10,000, and then the Metro participated for about 10,000.
So do we hold those mats then?
We store only 3 mats here.
Okay.
We used to store 5 or 6 or however many I could sneak past the operations department, but with renovating the lower level, it kind of took up some of our storage.
Do
area.
you expect that when we get a redo, that you will be, that people will assume that you can store things like that?
Assume? Well, people assume a lot of things of this building that is based in some sort of fantasy. But,
Would you consider storing
No.
more? No, okay, that's maybe a better question.
because we'll be using it up, we'll gain some storage, but not
Enough,
a lot.
good enough.
But we were, with this purchase, able to get rid of another 4 rolls of our old turf as well that we use as underlayments. So.
Did we need authority approval of the financials?
Yes.
Yes.
You will.
We
Oh,
will.
wait, oh, okay.
Think you missed one?
Or didn't I?
You can do whatever,
Okay. Okay.
just as
Move
long
on.
as you're in session.
You whizzed right by it.
Right,
Okay,
right.
fine, we'll move on.
I gave
We all voted on it.
pause. Nobody brought it up.
Sorry.
It was a one short pause. I gotta tell you.
It was very short.
I agree.
Any other comments, questions on past events?
Good to see things on the calendar.
Yeah. So
Nice to see.
moving forward, this weekend, last weekend actually, the 24th and 25th, the air show committee used the FARGODOME parking lots for their major parking for that. So we consider that our contribution to the air show. For that, this weekend we've got Fargo Blues Fest at Newman Outdoor, and so they'll be using the west parking lots as camping, and that's a little bit of revenue to us. And then 2 weeks from tomorrow, we're back in the concert business. Guns N' Roses will be here on the 11th, and
Numbers are at what now?
everybody's running through their checks to remember how to do big events and do all things like that. And
Kind of took a gasp when you said 2 weeks from tomorrow.
yeah, that's kind of what
Yeah.
what I did as I was getting up this morning. I went, forget it, I'm gonna go back to bed. But yeah, so it's here, and actually football I think reports next Thursday. So we're back in the event business, which is great. Looking forward to it up until our next meeting on the 31st of August.
Are we under 10,000 on tickets sales on that one?
So if there are any other questions or anything on that,
You cannot say, okay. Yeah.
we'll,
Yeah.
sales are
Yeah.
daily.
Yeah.
Everybody's
It's gonna be a late
still finding their
surge,
balance.
Late
Yes.
surge.
I'll move to approve the June financial statements.
Okay, thanks. First by Rick,
Second?
second by Dan.
So roll call, Nancy,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
There, that's why that pause was better for you.
That was, squeezed it right in there, yes.
If nobody said anything, I was going to stop and call it out and say, okay, this is the
Well,
time.
there's still another time.
I know.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to 3B then, committee reports.
Okay, so yeah, I will give the committee report. Unfortunately, the finance did not have a quorum, so, but listening to the finance committee and then also the building committee, I know the financials have already been approved, but they did agree with the reports. It was a pretty light agenda besides the financials. Rob did give a few updates. Canopy project is underway, and I noticed today just coming in, the equipment is still out. They're working on it. Still on schedule to be done at the end of July, or not?
August 3rd.
August? Okay.
End of,
What are they
middle.
doing right now in
Actually, the canopy side of it, the base bid is done. Now they're doing
Yeah.
all of the joint
Yeah,
repair.
yep,
Oh.
okay.
So if you look at the
That's what they're
building
doing.
and you're like, why do you have big white lines on there? It's a lot lighter than the other ones.
Right.
Remember, it's been 30 years since that's
Right,
been
yeah.
done, so it's just like
Yeah.
taking the Mr. Clean eraser to your bathtub joints and go,
Yeah.
oh, that is a white bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a very quick update on the dressing room catering, and it's getting close to completion, but still a little left there. Talked a little bit about the escrow balances year to date through May, whopping 20.89%, so pretty outstanding there. And then one item that was added to the agenda was a shutter venue grant. And you can see the dollar amount, just over $3.7 million was awarded to the FARGODOME, so, which is outstanding. Outside of that, was a pretty quick meeting. And a lot of good news. Not only was it a positive month, but got a nice grant. So with that, I would conclude the committee report.
Thank you. And then, what's your credit gonna be again on the shutter venues?
What's
Did-
our what?
Oh, it's
The-
other revenue.
Okay.
It will come, yeah, so the thought there will be, well, Susan, so she set up a whole new savings account for it. And so in July, or August, we're in July, right? So for the July financials, there'll be some payback essentially of the 2020 expenses. So it was basically March of 2020 through December 31st of 2021.
Yep, yep.
So how Susan had set it up, it's payroll benefits, building utilities, I think building insurance, and large annual maintenance agreements, just to kind of make it easier there. So for July, she'll recognize a certain portion of that 2020 such, and then I don't know if we'll do it in one or two other bunches.
Basically trying to create an audit trail, because we're
Right.
paying ourselves back.
So you'll get the debit cash credit income, and then you'll debit income and credit some of those expense
I think I'm
categories.
gonna, the first credit I think is gonna be deferred, we'll just defer it
Oh,
all,
okay.
deferred revenue. And then,
And the balance.
I'm gathering the backup work papers, so I'll have all of 2020s, we already have it done, and I've already moved, I think it was like 1.6.
Yeah, so I mean, 2021
Yeah.
is going to be
And then we'll
inflated
do
by.
the next
Yeah,
year-to-date
3.7 million.
We'll do that in third quarter, we'll
Okay.
have it all absorbed
Awesome.
by the end of the year.
I just think extra credit points, if there is such a thing in getting grants, wow.
Yeah, Susan
Yeah.
did a lot of
Wow,
work with
wow,
this.
wow.
And she's actually I'm getting calls of, so talk to Susan. So I think
Yeah.
we can consult her out on it too. So, but she did a lot of work, and I think there's more work ahead to just for the accounting of it. and
Yeah.
everything.
The question
helps.
maybe would be, Susan, that's all gonna go through current year income though,
Yeah.
eventually, right?
Because it all ends up in the same spot.
Right.
So,
Is there any post audit process from anyone?
Yeah, I have to do a report at the end,
Yeah,
so, but
okay.
not till the very end, till I do spend all the last money, then I'll send
Mm.
it all in, but I've been gathering it as I go, so I'm all
Okay.
ready.
Awesome.
so yeah, it'll all end up into the,
Mhm.
well, it'll be excess cash on our balance sheet for a while. And then based on our normal operating procedures, what happens with it after that, 2022 will be.
Okay. Do we need roll call for a committee report at all? Or-
So,
Yes.
somebody just needs to make a motion to approve the report and then I'll do roll call. Mike?
Mike?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so roll call Nancy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. It's interesting, you talk about all the excess cash, so looking at, last year's cash balance compared to this year, we're getting 3.782 million, we're actually down about 3.6 million compared to last year, so we're basically back to
Yep.
average, where we should be.
Yeah. With this, it kind of puts us back to the February 2020
Yep.
moving forward.
Right.
But that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing, given everything that's happened. Wow.
Okay, then additional items, so we have a fully executed,
We have partially. Signed by
Oh,
NDSU, so
it's
it's
okay.
it's the annual operating agreement is just a 1 year
1 year extension.
1 year extension. So July 1, June 30 of 2022. We did the only thing I changed in it was the dates and added the whereas and heretofore and thereas to the canceling the 6th and the 7th and the 8th and the blah 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 and adding the 8th. So it's the 8th amended lease. If you
Okay,
will.
okay.
For 1 year, you said?
It is for 1 year.
So-
I know in the minutes it mentioned that we were talking about some changes to the alcohol language. We did not do that this time around because
Okay.
it ends June 30th of 2022.
So it's truly
anyways.
just an extension, no other changes. Okay.
Move to approve.
Move to approve Nancy for the 1 year extension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Roll call.
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else for the group? Not, we're adjourned. Thank you.